Hello friends, in today's video I will tell you about the Finnish War. Everyone enjoy watching, good mood, do not forget to subscribe, put likes. And this is my second video, have a good day.
Picture this. It's the late 1930s. Europe is on the brink of the Second World War, and tensions are running high. A continent is on tenterhooks, its nations in a delicate dance of power and diplomacy. The global political stage is rife with whispers of alliances, threats, and under-the-table deals. In the midst of this, two of the era's most formidable powers, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union, signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. This non-aggression pact, shrouded in secrecy, not only promises peace between the two nations but also divides Eastern Europe into spheres of influence. A clandestine agreement that would inevitably alter the fate of many nations, including a tranquil land nestled in the far north, Finland. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union, under the rule of Joseph Stalin, was growing increasingly wary of its western neighbor Germany. This fear of a potential German assault led the Soviets to seek a strategic buffer zone on their northwestern frontier. Their eyes turned towards Finland, a nation known for its icy landscapes, hardy people, and strategic location. Finland was seen as a perfect buffer, a protective barrier against any German aggression. However, acquiring this buffer was not as simple as drawing lines on a map. The Finnish people, known for their fierce independence and resilience, had no intention of becoming a pawn in this game of giants. They were prepared to defend their homeland, their freedom, at any cost. For the Soviet Union, this was not just about securing a strategic advantage. It was about asserting their dominance, their might, on the global stage. They were ready to go to any lengths to ensure their security, even if it meant going to war. So, with this background, the stage was set for a conflict that would test the resilience of the Finnish people and the might of the Soviet Union. The chill of winter in 1939 brought with it the cold reality of war for Finland. As the snow started to fall, the Soviet Union was formulating a plan that would push this northern nation into a conflict that would test its very soul. In the months leading up to the conflict, the Soviet Union, under Joseph Stalin's iron grip, made demands that threatened Finland's sovereignty. The Soviets, seeking a buffer for their imperial city, Leningrad, insisted on acquiring significant parts of Finnish territory, including key parts of the Karelian Isthmus and the islands in the Gulf of Finland. In exchange, they offered territory deep in the heartland of Russia, far away from strategic points of interest. Finland, however, was not so easily cowed. With a fierce love for their homeland and an unyielding spirit, the Finnish government and its people refused to bow to the Soviet demands. They chose to defend their sovereignty, their homes, their very way of life, even in the face of a military behemoth. And so the stage was set for a conflict that was as uneven as it was fierce. On one side, the tiny Finnish army, ill-equipped and outnumbered, prepared to defend their homeland. On the other, the colossal Red Army, with its seemingly endless resources and manpower, poised to strike. But this was no ordinary war. This was a David versus Goliath battle, where the underdog was not just fighting for territory, but for its very existence. In the face of such overwhelming odds, the Finns displayed a level of bravery and tenacity that would mark the Winter War as one of the most remarkable conflicts in history. The Soviets, expecting a quick and decisive victory, were met with fierce resistance as the Finns utilized the harsh winter conditions and their intimate knowledge of the terrain to their advantage. The war had begun, and the world watched in awe as this small nation stood its ground against a superpower. Despite the odds stacked against them, the Finnish resistance was far from over. In the midst of the harsh winter, one battle would prove pivotal in the conflict: the Battle of Suomussalmi. In December of 1939, the small town of Suomussalmi became the epicenter of a fierce clash between the Finnish and Soviet forces. The Soviet 163rd Division, boasting a strength of around 25,000 men, marched into Finland with the objective of capturing the city of Oulu. Their path led them through the icy terrain of Suomussalmi, and it was here that the Finnish 9th Division, a significantly smaller force of around 6,000 men, decided to make their stand. The Finnish forces, led by Colonel Jalmar Silasvuo, adopted a unique strategy known as Mati tactics. The term Mati, derived from the Finnish word for a cord of wood, perfectly encapsulates the essence of this tactic. The Finnish soldiers, utilizing their intimate knowledge of the terrain and harsh winter conditions to their advantage, managed to isolate and encircle the larger Soviet units, effectively splitting them into smaller manageable groups, much like chopping a cord of wood into smaller logs. The smaller, isolated Soviet units were then systematically destroyed, either through direct assault or by cutting off their supply lines, leading them to succumb to the brutal Finnish winter. This strategy proved devastatingly effective against the Soviet forces, who were not only unprepared for the harsh winter conditions, but also unfamiliar with the forested terrain. Despite their superior numbers, the Soviet forces suffered heavy losses in the Battle of Suomussalmi. Estimates suggest that the Red Army lost around 27,000 men, along with a significant amount of equipment, while the Finnish forces suffered a fraction of that, with approximately 900 men lost. The Battle of Suomussalmi was a turning point, showing the world that the small Finnish army could hold its own against the mighty Red Army. The bravery and tactical genius of the Finnish forces in the face of overwhelming odds not only marked a significant victory in the Winter War, but also served as a testament to their resilience and determination. By March 1940, after months of fierce fighting, both sides were ready for peace. The Winter War, a grueling conflict that had seen Finland and the Soviet Union locked in a brutal struggle, was coming to a close. The conclusion was marked by the signing of the Moscow Peace Treaty, a pivotal moment in the annals of history. In a bid to cease the bloodshed, representatives from both nations convened in Moscow. The negotiations were tense, the stakes high. After several days of deliberation, an agreement was reached. On the 12th of March, the Moscow Peace Treaty was signed, officially bringing the Winter War to a halt. The treaty, however, came at a high cost for Finland. The terms dictated that a significant portion of Finnish territory would be ceded to the Soviet Union. This included parts of Karelia, Sala, and the Kalastajan-Sorrento Peninsula, along with several islands in the Gulf of Finland. In total, around 11% of Finland's land area and 30% of its economic assets fell into Soviet hands. This loss of territory resulted in an exodus of Finnish people from these areas. Approximately 400,000 Finns, a significant portion of the population, were forced to leave their homes and settle elsewhere in Finland. This mass displacement was a significant demographic shift, one that would shape the country's future. Internationally, the Winter War, and its conclusion with the Moscow Peace Treaty, had significant repercussions. The small, resilient nation of Finland gained a great deal of respect for its determined resistance against a much larger aggressor. The Soviet Union, on the other hand, faced criticism for its aggressive expansionist policies. The Moscow Peace Treaty marked the end of the Winter War, but it was far from the end of the story. The repercussions of the conflict and the resulting treaty would echo through the corridors of time, influencing the course of World War II and shaping the geopolitical landscape of Northern Europe. With the signing of the Moscow Peace Treaty, the Winter War came to an end, but its effects would be felt for years to come. The Winter War was a critical moment in the history of Finland and the Soviet Union. This brutal conflict, born in the crucible of geopolitical tension and territorial ambition, revealed not just the mettle of nations, but the indomitable spirit of the Finnish people. In our journey through the war's timeline, we've seen the remarkable resistance of the Finnish forces. Outnumbered and outgunned, they stood resolute against the Soviet Union's military might. Their tenacity, combined with the strategic use of Finland's harsh winter and rugged terrain, turned the tide of battles like the pivotal Battle of Suomussalmi in their favor. On the other side, we've explored the strategic missteps of the Soviet Union. Despite their superior numbers and resources, the Red Army's lack of preparation for Finland's severe winter conditions, and the underestimation of Finnish resistance, led to heavy casualties and unexpected setbacks. These misjudgments not only cost them the swift victory they had anticipated, but also exposed their vulnerabilities to the watching world. But the Winter War wasn't merely a series of battles fought in the snow. Its significance extends far beyond the battlefield. The war had profound geopolitical implications, reshaping alliances and perceptions in the lead-up to the Second World War. It also left an indelible mark on the Finnish national identity, cultivating a spirit of sisu, the Finnish concept of stoic determination, grit, and resilience in the face of adversity. The legacy of the Winter War continues to resonate. It stands as a testament to the courage of the Finnish people, their ability to hold their own against overwhelming odds, and their determination to protect their homeland. It's a reminder of the human capacity for resistance and resilience, even in the most dire of circumstances. The Winter War, a conflict born out of geopolitical tensions, tested the resilience of a nation and changed the course of history. It's a chapter of the past that continues to echo into the present, a vivid reminder of the enduring strength of the human spirit.